All right, good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday morning show on ASI Radio. I'm your host, Chris Ruvo, senior writer for ASI's Advantages magazine. My co-captain today is CJ Mitica, editor of Wearables magazine. CJ, how goes it?
I'm glad that I was named co-captain.
Co-captain,
I'm not sure I want the responsibility, but I'm glad you think that highly of me.
You get like, it's like hockey. You get the A on your jersey for assistant captain. All right, cool. Well, you want to get into the real reason, though, why we're here today, and that's to talk about how to market with online video in the digital age. And this is going to be a good show because we have a great person here to fill us in on the particulars, and that's Kirby Hasseman. Kirby is the CEO of Hasseman Marketing and Communications. They're a full-service marketing company and promotional products distributor. They're recently recognized as a top social media influencer within the industry. Kirby is a pro at using online video to market his company. He's the father of two who hosts a weekly web show called Delivering Marketing Joy, where he interviews business leaders from around the country. In addition, he puts out a video called The Weekly Word, which is about personal development. Kirby, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, man, thanks so much. I appreciate it, Chris.
Yeah, well, let's jump right into the questions, Kirby, and I'm hoping you can maybe give us a little bit of context before we could delve into video particularly. You know, we're in the age of, kind of constant online connectivity and social media. How has that changed marketing?
Yeah, I think we're living through a massive shift in the way marketing is done. We're in the middle of it. Essentially, we've spent our entire lives, and really since the beginning of time, where marketing has been a push kind of message, a push play. Mm-hmm. You push out your message, and the company or organization that has the most money and can push their message out the most and most effectively wins. But with, this, as you said, the digital age of connectivity and social media, the best organizations have developed more of a pull strategy, mm-hmm. where because, quite frankly, the audience has the power, or much more power than they've ever had. And so what you want to do is bring them in. And I think that, a negative experience from a customer can really impact the company because they have a voice and they can share it. And so, I think this shift it's very powerful, and it's still happening.
All right. Now, you mentioned in there, the whole approach of pull marketing. So kind of mm-hmm. on that subject, what are some smart strategies that promotional products companies can implement to market themselves more effectively, to kind of execute that pull strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that really from a philosophical standpoint, we need to start to understand that everybody, regardless of their business, we are a media company. So, in other words, in today's day and age, we are a media company that also sells promotional products. You're a media company that also sells cars. So we need to start acting like that. And in that regard, we need to put out content that matters to our potential customers and clients. So, a couple tips would be give first. What I mean by that is provide value. Articles, funny pictures, videos, interesting things, look at it from the customer's eyes. I think instead of just trying to go for the sale every single time, mm-hmm. I think so many small businesses, whether it's in our industry or anything else, they're always just saying, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. Well, if you're a consumer of that, it's very easy to unlike that page. Mm-hmm. So you want to build integrity by providing value. So that's kind of the first tip. I'd say be human. And I think people still buy from people they like, know, and trust. My buddy Bill Petrie actually says people buy from companies and people they like, know, and trust. And so just be personal, right? React. And the third tip is engage. I think instead of just using it as an opportunity to just blast out messages all the time, we need to be engaging with our audience. Ted Coyne, who's an expert in social media, says we need more social and less media, mm-hmm. it's
which
I liked
quote.
a lot.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and again, just be the kind of company or the kind of person that you would want to hang out with. I tell you, one of the biggest ones is be consistent. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, a lot of organizations say, "Oh yeah, I'm on Facebook." And then you go to their page, and the last time they posted was October of 2013.
Right.
And so,
doesn't look good.
Well, then, yeah, there's no point. Whether it's once a week, once a day, whatever it is, just be consistent so your audience kind of can build a trust in what you're going to put out. I mean, when we put out the things we're talking about, we put it out on a specific day each week.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it easy on us. We don't, we don't have to plan, but also our audience kind of knows what to expect each day as well. And I think, again, that's what a media company would do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final one is use video. And again, I know that's one of the reasons we're here,
Mm-hmm.
but I think using video has become less expensive and more powerful in today's day and age. And it's a huge tool to let people know who you are and what you're about.
So let's jump into that then. How are you using video in your marketing, and what's your strategy with your efforts?
Great question. And you kind of mentioned it in the intro a little. Certainly a big part of what we do is we want to, again, we're trying to follow our own advice here, is we want to provide value. So the Weekly Word is a weekly personal development short video, always looking for words
Mm-hmm.
to tie in. And we've been doing it for a year and a half, so we're always looking for that. But it's a short 1 minute-ish video that just kind of gets people thinking and gets them a little kind of motivation, something to think about. And again, that's a way that we present ourselves as the expert, right? So that's that part of the marketing strategy. Delivering marketing joy has really been fun. That's one of those things I'd wanted to do for a long time. And essentially, we interview business leaders from around the country and around the business world. Because I know a lot of people in the promotional products world, there are a lot of people from promo on the show. And so we've got some awesome people there. It allows me to tap into other people's expertise. And we also share platforms. So if Dana Zezo and I are talking on Delivering Marketing Joy, he's going to share it to his audience. I'm going to share it to mine, and we both benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been really cool. And honestly, I've gotten a lot out of it personally, too, just talking to those super smart people. Product videos. Candidly, I don't do enough of this. I almost follow our own advice too far because kind of back to that metaphor of the media company.
Right.
A TV station has TV shows, right? But they do commercial breaks
Mm-hmm.
where they try to sell you something. And I need to do more, quite frankly, asks. I need to do more where I say, I'm probably the opposite. I need to do more where I say, hey, this Starline tumbler is on sale. But going into what you can do in the video is go into the details, that you can't do in a picture. And so we do some of that. I'd like to do more. And then really the kind of the final piece, if you research us at all, you'll see fun videos
Mm-hmm.
that show our company's personality, whether it's fun music videos, silly movie trailers. We're constantly trying to, be fun, and we show that through video.
Hey Kirby, this is CJ. So one of the things regarding video, when we hear from readers, is that they have concerns about their ability to produce a good video, and by that I mean I think they're worried about just that it's not going to be professional or have like a high level of polish to it. So I mean, for them, I mean, how much should they be investing in terms of the quality of the video, and how professional or polished does it need to look?
That's a great question, CJ. I appreciate it. I don't think for the purpose of content marketing, these videos don't have to be highly produced. And what I mean by that, don't get me wrong, you need to be able to hear it.
Right.
You need to be able to see it. And I know that sounds silly, but that's legit. But you can create effective video presentations with your cell phone. Totally. You will see if you look through videos I've created, there's several where I'm like, you know what, I have an idea. I grabbed my iPhone, I recorded it, I uploaded it to YouTube. And there was literally zero editing production that went with it. And in those cases, it's about the message. If you have a compelling message and a compelling story to tell, webcam is fine. I mean, the Delivery Marketing Joy, the bulk of that show is done over webcams on Skype. So we add some production dust to that thing, but the overall messaging is, it's very basic. It's more about the content. And so, don't get me wrong, if you're creating a marketing video for your company, I think that's where you spend the money. That's where you spend the time, because you want it to be brand consistent. But if you're trying to just do a quick expert video, doing something down and dirty, as I like to say, you can totally do some really cool stuff that way.
That's an encouraging message, that there's not a big barrier to entry there. So I hope listeners kind of find that encouraging. But as they go about trying to do some of those videos, even simple ones, I imagine there's some best practices to keep in mind. What might those be? What are some good best practices to execute when you're doing videos?
Yeah, that's a good question. And there's some, there's lots of things you can do, but some quick ones, just like the biggest thing that I tell people is keep it short. If you are like me and you're on YouTube and you look at a video and you're like, that might be interesting, the first place I look is how long is it?
No, exactly what you mean. Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, but it's not 9 minutes long. Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not willing to give up my life for it.
Right.
And so, and that's become more and more and more prevalent in our ADD world. If you see something and you're like, oh, it's a minute. Yeah, I can give up a minute. Now, you still need to be compelling and interesting, but if it's 15 minutes long, I run into that challenge with Delivering Marketing Joy, right? Delivering Marketing Joy is a 10 to 15-minute video. So I understand walking into it that it's not for everybody, but that's the part you just have to think it out, right? In advance of the thing. So that's the biggest thing is keep it short, because quite frankly, that's a barrier to someone watching it in the first place. Be relevant, and what I mean by that is I love this stat. How-to videos on YouTube are searched 3 times more than music videos.
Wow.
So, so by being relevant within the space you live in, you can really get a lot more traction with your videos. And that's just a matter of telling stories. I would say tell stories that you tell to your customers every day. If you find yourself saying the same thing 3 times in a week, well, then that might be a good video blog. Show people is another tip I like to tell people. We, as humans, we're simple creatures, right? We like things that light up and flash, and we are naturally attracted to other faces. So videos that just have scenes or just have product or just have, things that aren't human aren't as compelling. So show faces. The Joe Show is a great example, right? Joe's on there, and he's developed into a celebrity within the promotional products world by showcasing them, but showcasing them with him and his personality, if that makes any sense.
Very true, yep.
One final one, and it sounds counterintuitive to what we just said, but bad production will kill you.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, if the audience can't hear you, it needs to have good. Now, that doesn't mean you have to spend $1,000 on a microphone. It just means listen to it, make sure you can hear it, and that there isn't a train going through. If you've got a window, right, don't put a window behind you because you won't be able to see your face. Simple little tricks like that will make your overall video quality perfectly acceptable. But if you don't, that's a deal breaker. So those are a couple quick ones.
So Kirby, what are some good examples of video marketing that either in the industry or outside the industry that that our listeners can look to for inspiration? And remember, this is a chance to pimp your own stuff, so just tread carefully.
I love it. Okay, sure. Well, obviously, I would love for people to check out the Delivering Marketing Joy web show and the Weekly Words. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, that's pretty easy to find, or just find me on any of the social pieces. One of the guys that provides me a great deal of inspiration is Gary Vaynerchuk. I love his stuff. and he's got the Ask Gary V show. So he literally takes Fields' questions through social media, and he answers them. It's not daily, but it is a lot. He's over 100 episodes in right now. Now, that's got some production value to it, but it's really, really, really good. He also, he owns a digital media agency, so they've got some high-level film stuff that's really good, too. I really like Behind the Brand. I actually was looking at some of the subscriptions that I follow on YouTube. Behind the Brand, they interview business leaders from all over the country, face-to-face. Obviously, The Joe Show. That's a good one. And again, Joe Show is a great one because of consistency. We talked about that. There's some production value definitely that goes into that, but at the end of the day, it's relevant and it is consistent. And I think those are some quick, good ones. And there's lots of really good stuff out there. I'll watch anything from Entrepreneur or Inc. magazine or anything like that too.
All right, awesome. So Kirby, we're winding down here. Just kind of any additional resources that you can recommend that would, help people who are in marketing within the industry in their video making efforts?
Sure. Again, I think don't overthink it. I think when it comes to content, I've had this conversation within the industry. Whether you're doing video marketing, doing blogging, doing whatever, don't be afraid to just start. Mm-hmm. Talking about it doesn't get you anywhere. So put something out, watch it, learn from it, improve, on the second try, third try, whatever. Honestly, when I first started doing the video blogs, as it were, mm-hmm. webcam and my cell phone, that is all we used. Mm-hmm. And so if you hook up your iPhone to your YouTube channel, and you may not know this, but if you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube channel. So you sync it to that, record, and obviously you can record it a couple times until you get it just right, and then upload it. And poof, you're in video marketing. And you don't need any other tools other than that. YouTube actually has a little editing piece. I don't really use it, quite frankly, because, if we're going to use it, we're going to shoot a video like that, I just shoot that video, upload it, and call it a day. Because, again, I think in those moments, the audience understands that that's what that is. If you want more production, I really like QuickTime. It kind of comes natively on the Mac, but you can download it for PC version as well. And then I can record it to QuickTime and then upload it to YouTube. Mm-hmm. Any of the computers, iMovie or Windows Media, Movie Maker, that are all free. And then the other thing I'll do if I'm not near my my webcam, I'll use my cell phone, and there's a little tripod that's really inexpensive that you can use for your phone. It's called the Gorilla Pod. Mm-hmm. I want to say it's $15 or something. You can get it on Amazon. But that allows you to have the camera so you're not essentially doing an extended selfie. You can set it up so it kind of looks like a professional looking deal, and you can see what you're going to look like on there. But those are just some real quick resources. But at the end of the day, the biggest tip is just, it's the Nike slogan, just do it. Mm-hmm. When you have something to say, record it, put it out there, and start to get feedback. And I think that you'll just improve the more you do it.
Awesome. Well, Kirby, thank you so much for joining us today. That's Kirby Hosselman from Hosselman Marketing and Communications. Really great stuff. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. Thanks, guys.
All right. All right, that was some interesting stuff from Kirby, huh?
Yeah, that's really great. And, in video is such a foreign concept to a lot of people because, especially like our readers, because they don't think they're not always the most technically inclined, and there's so many worries. Well, how am I going to do this? Am I going to look good? And I think the message, was that it isn't that hard. There's not a high barrier to entry to do it.
Yeah, I think that was the big takeaway for me too. That you don't have to be intimidated by this, and that with just some very simple tools that you probably already have at your disposal because you exist in the 21st century, you can get going with some video marketing. But let's shift gears a little bit to when does social sharing cross the line? This is another topic we wanted to get into, kind of social media related 21st century marketing. Tell us about it, CJ.
So actually, I think this is related to a lot. So somewhat Kirby was talking about in terms of video and how, obviously how prevalent it's becoming. So, if you're on Facebook, you're seeing videos all the time, and especially I think in the past year or two, ever since Facebook did like a major update, they've incorporated a lot more video into their, into their software, into their processes. So what's interesting though is that when people upload these videos, sometimes it doesn't say like link to this person's YouTube page. It just shows the video. So when they talk about social sharing, it's just you're seeing the video. It doesn't even mention the source, so you don't know where it comes from. And I think that's a little bit disturbing because basically if you put your content out there, other people can share it, and there's no way for you to be
you're not getting credit for it.
Yeah, exactly. You're not getting credit. You're not getting reference. And it's funny because in this article they talk about how Facebook's algorithms even sort of encourage this in a way, because the videos that are uploaded directly to Facebook, they pop up bigger. They look better. So
is that right?
They want you to upload video directly to Facebook instead of just linking to YouTube. So that makes it even more difficult to get that credit. So a couple things, or a couple bits of advice, and there's two in the article. I'll add a third. One is put yourself in the original content creator's shoes. So just think about it. If you were when you're sharing a video and you don't give credit, like think about how you feel that you're that person who created that video, and then there's no redirect, there's no mention of your business or anything. You'd be a little peeved, right? So
for sure.
So just think about how they would feel. That's the one thing. Two, give attribution. I think this is a huge thing because in social media and blogging, it's so key to give credit where credit's due, because it comes back around to you. So if you give credit to a person for a video on their website or whatever, they're likely to do the same thing to you. So I think that's just that makes
like common courtesy just on the computer.
Yeah. Exactly. And one more thing I would say that wasn't an article is just I would say brand your videos. Like, and I think a lot of people do in this industry that do videos because it's your business and it's how you make your livelihood. But if you have that, if you have information in your video about your company, website, Instagram or Twitter handle, then even if they just upload that video, it still has your name on it, your company's name on it. So that way there's no confusion where it comes from.
Yeah, and especially important given that we're in the branding industry.
Yeah,
you have it branded.
Of course,
cool.
Definitely.
Cool. All right, awesome, good stuff. Thank you, CJ. I'm going to tell you a little about another thing that I think is relevant, to marketing nowadays. Obviously, email marketing is a big part of a lot of people's marketing outreach arsenal. But there's some mistakes that you can make with that, and particularly those mistakes can occur before anyone even clicks on your email, and they can occur in the subject line. So we have a few examples of things that you maybe want to avoid in putting into your subject lines, things that can turn people off. Now, these are subjective to an extent, but it certainly will get you thinking. So one thing that you definitely want to avoid is going nuts with exclamation points in the subject line. It's kind of pointless. Would be the one way. I don't think the exclamation points are going to make people super duper excited to click on your email.
No one talks like that. No one writes like that. So if you see that in the subject line, you're immediately like just your hackles are up.
Right. You feel like you're being marketed to. Yeah. All right. And that in itself can kind of be a turnoff. Some people even kind of view it as infantile, like what are you, 15-year-old on Facebook? So it's if you can, I know it might be tough, but lay off the exclamation points. Another thing that kind of doesn't come off well in subject lines is when you send an email and the subject line is either a single word, reminder, or reminder, XYZ, because the way a lot of people, or not a lot, but the way some people read this is a kind of form of passive aggressiveness, where what you're really saying, you're not really saying, hey, here's a reminder. What you're really saying is, I'm kind of annoyed you didn't immediately respond to my email, so I'm sending you this email with the word reminder in it to basically show you that I'm annoyed and to hope that you'll now respond quicker. So for some people that can kind of come off as nagging and kind of be a turnoff. So given that, you can still send reminder emails. Just be a little bit more creative with the subject line. You don't have to put reminder in it. Find a different way of couching couching the content that you're or that you're putting in the email and the response you're trying to get.
As reporters and editors, we have to do that all the time. It's because we send an email and then someone will respond or you don't respond, then you have to send it again. So we're doing this constantly, and there's an art to like doing it without being like pushy, so you turn them off.
Right, you got to try to massage it, and I've been guilty of that in the past, and I try not to do that now. So because it's true, it does annoy people, and so anyway, be a little bit more creative with, don't use reminder, be a little bit more creative with the subject lines. Another thing is if you're sending a newsletter, a company newsletter via email, you might want to just, instead of putting XYZ Marketing's April newsletter as the subject line. People get emails like that all the time, and it's a little bland and boring. Instead, kind of think of what might be your main headline or your top story or your cover story, if you will, from that newsletter, and kind of pull an interesting either an interesting phrase or something that kind of sums up what that content is, and what people are going to get if they click on that email, and use that as the subject line. That people will be more inclined if they see something snappy or interesting than just, oh, Joe Blow's newsletter, another boring thing I don't want to read.
Yeah, I think actually our counselor program does a good job of this, because it doesn't say counselor program edition like volume 2020. It's like, it lists the headlines for the thing, so that that immediately draws people in because they're curious to read the stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Good example. And just lastly, I'll give one more thing. You want to maybe avoid being overly personal in the subject line unless you actually do know the person. It's a pretty common tactic now. You probably get them all the time, or an email that'll say, CJ, check out these mortgage rates, or Chris, come to our restaurant, kind of thing. And for some people that really doesn't resonate well. They feel like, kind of, who are you? I know that I don't know you. You're just trying to basically trick me into thinking that I know, or that you know me, and that I should click on your email and there's something personal in there. So that kind of feigned personability can come off really disingenuous and turn some people off. So unless you actually know the person, don't use that.
Well, it's funny because we get a lot of PR emails and pitches, and oftentimes are addressed to our name, our first name, because they have a marketing database. Well, because my name is C.J. dot. The dots mess up the software, so I'll just get like, hey, C dot, and then so I was like, okay, we'll put that one in the trash.
It's your good buddy, yeah. How you doing, C dot? All right, well, that's my bit on subject line, things to avoid. CJ, quickly tell us about some ideas to shake up your digital marketing.
Okay, so I don't think any of these are like super revolutionary, but they all make a lot of sense, and they're things that our listeners can do. So I'll just tick them off quickly. One, consider starting up a podcast, and I think just as Kirby talked about with video, you can just get in and do it. Same with the podcast. It doesn't take a lot. You can you have some recording software on your computer, a microphone, and you can pretty much just go, and then you can do talk about industry topics, or answer questions, or or talk about product. There's so many different things you can do, and it's low, like the video. There's a low barrier of entry.
Cool.
Number two, consider publishing a book. This is something we've seen people in the industry do. I think it's very effective. It gives them some gravitas in terms of their name and their company. And again, it's very easy to now self-publish on Amazon, or just issue an ebook. It obviously takes time to do that, but once you've done it, then you can publish it and spread it through your social media and marketing channels. It's very easy to spread it out. Another one here is about when you drive people to your website, obviously you want them to buy, but sometimes you just, if they land on a single product page, they don't want to buy immediately. So they recommend setting up some measures to encourage them to buy in the future. So if they visit that page, if you can capture their email address, you can email them later on and say, like, hey, the price of that item dropped. And you can even prompt them on the page to sign up for price alerts or things like that. So even if they don't buy right away, if you stay top of mind with them, you can get that purchase.
That's a nice practical one. I like that. Yeah.
Sure. And then I'll talk about one more. It's about showing off your philanthropic side. So we've written about this a number of times in the magazines about companies that do this great work. Well, it's easy to publicize that work, in your email and your email marketing campaign, post video, post pictures on social media, and you can tie it into an online fundraiser and promote that. And I think it's really effective because it shows that you as a company you obviously care and you're doing something about it, and buyers really gravitate to that.
Awesome. All right, good advice. Thank you, CJ. Sure. All right, that's all we have time for today. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Tune in again next week. I'm Chris Rubo. Have a good day.